Sup guys, it's me again, and today I'll be continuing my chess lessons. As earlier I taught you how to move the pieces, and I know currently you might be somewhere around bragging that you do not play chess, you know to move pieces. But in this lesson today, I'll be showing you the real aim of chess, what's behind it, in that you get to understand more about the game and also some special moves. Like as in football, you do have the skill moves. You do also have some special moves right in chess. So there are quite many, unlike football. These ones are way too common. First of all, I'd begin with castling. So the castling is a position as to whereby I get to swap the king and the rook. What I'm trying to demonstrate is something like this. So see, as you can see, I've just swapped the king and the rook. So the idea behind this is to put the king in a shield of pawns, which typically this is important for your king. As much later in the video, you'll get to understand why, as I do explain the aims of chess. On the other hand, the rook is way developed much easier as to compared when I will have to move a pawn, then moving the rook now. That was just some adjustment, so that's not how pieces are moved. That was just some adjustment. So one thing you need to notice about castling is that when castling, you do have to touch your king first. Do not touch the rook first. If you do touch the rook first, then perform the castling move, it will be rendered as the king moved alone. Others, if you do claim that you've castled in over the board chess, it is rendered as illegal, and it will be rendered as an illegal move, which is kinda punishable. And also in online chess, actually that move is kinda incorrect and thus won't apply. Actually the bot will refuse you to play that, for the bot is also programmed to the rules of chess. So another thing to note on castling is that the king and the rook with which you do want to castle with shouldn't have moved at all. They should be new to the move. They shouldn't have moved anywhere. Let's say if my king had earlier moved to any other random square, then I got returning to its initial square, then plan to castle, that will be illegal because it had actually moved. And that applies the same case to the rook with which it wants to castle with. This is because if Adalia played with the rook, then returned it and now planned to castle, it will still be rendered illegal. Another thing to note on castling is that when castling, the king shouldn't pass through, or let's say land onto a square which is dominated or controlled by your opponent's piece. Let me show you with an example. So I do have, let's say, this queen right here. So I can't castle because I'll be moving through this square, and what happens is that I'm moving through a square that is controlled by my queen. So this isn't possible, for it's kinda dangerous. It's like trying to move your king through somewhere dangerous. I know you might be wondering why I'm saying this is dangerous, but much later in the video you'll get to understand why I'm saying this is dangerous. So with those rules considered, let me now teach you the variations of castling. So castling can come in two ways. So in a chessboard we do have the king side, whereby we do have from the king, the e file to the h file, we do call it the king side. And then from the queen's file, the d file, to the a file, we do call it the queen side. So when castling, both pieces do have to skip a square. So in the king side castling, the king skips the f square and moves to the g square, and the rook at the h file skips a square to fall at the h file, like this. No, not that way, sorry. Yeah, like this. that way. And that is a successful castling in the king side. So what about castling in the queen side? So as I've just said, both pieces do have to skip a square when moving. But as you can see, if we check at this position properly, when they do both get to skip only a square, they'll end up colliding. So the question is, how do we solve the problem? So since, as I've just said, the king moves first, so the king has the priority to skip one square first. But what happens to the rook? The rook, on the other hand, has to skip a square extra, making it skipping two squares, so that to achieve efficient castling on the queen side. This is what I'm trying to mean. So the king skips a square and moves to the other square, the C file square, and then the rook will have to skip two squares from the A file and fall at a square the D file. So this is all about castling, and the main aim of castling, remember, it's to keep your king behind a shield of pawns, which I'll later explain why is it useful, as it kind of defends the king. You'll learn much later why should the king be defended, as I do explain the aims of chess. On the other hand, you try to bring the rooks into the game, which is also an important thing to do in the game. Now, let's head on to our next skill move. So, another thing that I would like to teach you guys is something to do with the pawns, and I will call it the pawn promotion. So, this is the point whereby you get to move your pawn from your side to the opponent's side, to the opponent's end of the board. That is, for in white's case, moving the pawn to the 8th rank, and for white's case, moving it to the 1st rank. So first of all, this case, after hard day's work, a pawn could be promoted to any other piece except for the king on reaching the 8th rank. Like in this case, if I get to move this pawn to the 8th rank, you can see we have quite a wide variety to choose from: the queen, the knight, the rook, the bishop. So most of the guys would go for the queen, because it's a way more valuable piece. Actually, as you earlier learned, queen is worth 9 points, so why shouldn't you go for a much valuable piece? But in much advanced situations, people would either go for lesser valuable pieces such as the bishop or the knight, maybe to avoid such futuristic problems, as I'll explain to you later in the game, as why would people maybe do something like that. So the main idea behind pawn promotion is that once a pawn crosses over to the opponent's territory and reaches to their opponent's last rank, that is, the ranks at the edges, the 1st and the 8th rank, 8th rank for the white pawn and 1st rank for the black pawn, it can easily be promoted to the queen, knight, rook, or bishop. So I know a question might be popping up on why not the king. So in a game of chess, I'll explain it to you a bit later, but let me just give you a hint about it. The main aim of chess is to set up an attack on the king. But as you can see, when we get to promote this pawn to a king, it will be very hard to attack, for you'll have to attack two kings and successfully attack them at the same time, which is impossible. We have to play a game of chess with only one king for it to make it kind of look more logical, so as to satisfy our aim of attacking one king and succeeding in attacking it. So another special move that I'll be teaching you, it's still something to do with the pawns. And so one will be asking a question, so pawns do have too many special moves? Yeah, I will say yeah, apart from the promotion, it does have another special move. So let me teach you something a bit. So white's territory starts from the 1st rank to the 4th rank, and for black's territory starts from the 5th rank to the 8th rank. So as in this place, what happens if I do get to cross a pawn and make it enter black's territory? So black will be like, so I can't place my pawn on the 6th rank, that is the d pawn and the f pawn, because they will get captured as pawns captured diagonally. And so tries to outsmart his opponent, the white one, and plays a move such as and moves it further, like that. But this your special move comes in. So, provided your pawn gets too close to the other side of the board, not okay, not the other side of the board, sorry, but enters your opponent's territory, as in for its case, it has entered black's territory, since from the 5th rank to the 8th rank is a black territory. And let's say black in turn moves the pawn to an adjacent file to the file where pawn occupies, and they all lie on the same rank. We could still possibly capture their pawn, but what happens is that we do assume that the pawn lies in the 6th rank, then we capture it diagonally. But still, even when after moving it diagonally, it seems like we've captured it. And this skill move, it's a French word we'd call the en passant, which means the pawn in passes or bypasses, as you will frame it. So as you can see, provided your pawn has crossed and entered into the other person's territory, and the pawn moves the person moves the pawn to the file adjacent to the file where your pawn that has crossed to the territory lies, and they all lie in the same rank, it can still be captured. But one thing you would have to know about this move is that if white doesn't see it and let's say plays another move like that, and then black let's say also plays, and then white like notices, oh, they do have the en passant move, it's not possible to play it after that. It will otherwise it will be rendered as an illegal move. So it's also special because you have to note it from the immediate point. But another thing to note, it's not kind of that necessary. So don't feel bad if you get to notice it much later and you don't have an option to pick it. It's not that necessary. Not unless you didn't hit that pawn, you should see it by first move. Otherwise, if you do ignore it and see it much later, let you know that it can no longer apply. It only applies once. It only has one life, and when ignored, it has no more lives. So, and it can no longer apply. So, guys, I wanna be teaching you now on the aims behind chess. So, what came to your mind after you learned how to play chess in your first video? So like, yeah guys, I know how to play chess, and you ended up in some fun positions because you are aimless. You don't know what's the aim behind playing this game. What should I aim? What should I do? So for the main aim of playing chess is whereby you get to attack your king and place it in a position whereby it can't evade your attack. That is simply the king, not any other piece. Attacking the king only, but it can't evade your attack, and let's say it kinda succumbs to your attacks, and let's say it kinda dies. So I wanna play a few moves and teach you a concept related to our aim behind playing chess. So let's say a game does have these moves, and black plays this move. So this is what I would call a check. So a check is whereby we get to directly attack a king. As you do know, the queen moves diagonally, and you can see it controls a diagonal as to whereby its opponent's king lies, that is the white king, and thus we'll call it a check because it's a direct attack on the king. So firstly, I will say, unlike any other thing you will see in chess, for checks you do have to act on them immediately. As let's say like the en passant, you do have to act on them immediately. and you can't do anything else. Let's say, let's try to move this knight. You can see it's not even possible to move them because we do have to act on the check immediately. Otherwise, trying to do something else will be rendered as illegal. And of course, in over the board chess, you want to be penalized for playing legally, for that isn't considered. So, what I want to put in your mind concerning the checks is some mnemonic I set up, considering on ways to evade a check. I would render it a CPR. So the C stands for capturing, the P for protecting the king or blocking, and the R for running or making the king move away from the check. So a point to note, if you do know how the knight moves, you can't actually block a file or a diagonal as compared to the queen or the rooks or the bishops. But for a knight, the only thing we could do is either capture the knight or make our king move if capturing isn't available. So again, I will say the CPR has various situations. There's a reason as to why in a position you'll use the C for capture, in another position P for protect, and in another position R for running away. So this position right here, let's see what can do with, okay, the letter C. So can we capture the queen? No, there's no piece that can capture a queen. So then we got the P. So can we protect the king or block it? Yeah, we will use this pawn right here and block the queen from accessing the diagonal attached to the king. And thus we found a way of evading a check. So also, could we make the king escape? Yeah, the king could move to this square and it should actually move to a square which is not controlled by another piece which is of its opponent. Otherwise, it can't move then. So I want to take you through a simple position right here. So some moves are played. Yes. So we do get to such a position like this and it's check again. So we do have the CPR in mind. So can we capture the piece? Yes, we do have the knight right here. So what the knight can do? It captures it. Uh, the check is evaded, and of course, as you can see, as you do know the value of the queen, it's a huge loss for his opponent. So he's like, oh no, I did lose it. So I want to go through you another position of the checks. So this does happen. And we do have this move. So white checks the black king. So, and black is like, oh boy, let me just apply the CPR then. So see, could we capture the queen? No, we can't capture the queen at all. So there's no piece that will capture the queen. So could we protect it or block it? There is no pawn or there is no bishop or knight that would block that diagonal from being accessed by the queen. And could we make the king escape? No. The only square eligible to it is still being controlled by the queen. So where the CPR isn't applicable at all when a check is delivered, we no longer call it a check, but rather a checkmate. So, and for white, I would say, put on a smile, for you've won the match. So, a checkmate is in a position whereby you get to give a check on your opponent, but the opponent can't utilize the CPR to evade your check, and thus the game ends as a huge loss for him, and you win the game, where you've successfully attacked the king, and it has completely surrendered to your attacks. As you can see, it can't save itself. It lays there lifeless. It's quite funny that even the board gives it a whole red. Also, it's a pool of blood. Feeling bad for it, man. So, in this is the main aim of chess. When you do get to attack the king and you can't evade your attacks. Then you've accomplished your main goal in chess, checkmating your king. So the main goal behind playing chess is to try as much as you can to checkmate your opponent's king. I hope that point is well understood. So in other positions, let's say maybe I want to teach you a less primary goal when playing chess, and that will be like for aiming for huge pieces right here. So as you can see this position right here, let's continue that way. Let's drop this one. Yeah. So personally I would say, in my opinion, white is trying to achieve another goal in chess, which will, let's say, attacking your opponent's valuable pieces, as it has successfully attacked that queen and, let's say, gobbled it up. And as you know, the value of a queen is 9 points. Thus, it has won a very valuable piece, and black knows this is terrible. There's no way he's surviving this thing. Yeah, he will survive, but he does know this is a very valuable piece. I've lost a way too valuable piece, and things aren't going well for him. And so, besides the checkmating goal, you will also have another goal of, let's say, attacking your opponent's pieces, especially valuable ones. The queen, of course, of 9 points, the rooks of 5 points, that order. But let's compare these two goals, the checkmating goal and the picking of your opponent's pieces. So let me ask you a question. So would you rather checkmate your king, your opponent's king, or go for his queen? I know it might sound a bit logical, but some other guys have their own ways of doing things. But I would recommend you that you would rather go for the checkmate. Checkmate is the surest win. But eating your queen, in this case my opponent's queen, doesn't mean that I'm winning the game. Because I might eat up his queen, but then he checkmates me. And what happens? I lose. I lose when I have his queen in hand. I won it, but I still lose the game if I got checkmated. So I will say winning your opponent's pieces is a less primary goal, but for the checkmating one, it should lie deep in your mind. When you get to play chess, always aim to checkmate your opponent. So guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. So next I wanna do on the scores in chess, winning, losing, and you might guess that also in chess we do have draws. And you're like, what? What's a draw? Why should there be draws? So in that next video, I will explain to you how do the draws occur and how is even chess recorded. Like, let's say you wanna go through a whole game, how you will write it down. So I'm gonna teach you how chess is notated and also the scores in chess. I hope you did once again enjoy this video. I will also request you to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will really appreciate you for that. Thanks for watching.